Hey, oh, YouTube is just so different. It's so much better than Facebook.
Oh, you got a picture of this too.
I mean, look at that. How can you compare the two? Look, side by side.
Oh yeah, but that's how when I was jumping on, you could tell the difference. I would have one on my computer, my laptop, and
Ah, okay.
on the phone.
Oh man. Of course, Matt goes to get the tent and it starts freaking raining. Look at that.
Well, at least you can see him across a little while. I would have walked in the room.
Hey, aloha from Aloha Elias. Hi everybody. How's it? How's it? Happy Aloha Friday. Happy rainy Aloha Friday. Hey Suzette, how's it? It likes to rain just enough to get everything wet and then stop. Oh, where'd you come from?
Put the tent in the other corner.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's the other dry spot. So then stop raining, we'll put it out.
Yeah. We stay in Mililani tonight at this little park that we've been at before. We're just kind of looking, taking notice what it looks like when cars drive by. Hey Matthew, how's it? How's it? Yeah, we give it a couple minutes, and then we can go ahead and begin. Tonight, I have Uilani and Matt over here with me, and Mace is gonna join as well. You good? You good, Matt?
Huh?
You good?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was just like coming down. Sorry, I'm swearing.
No
I
worries.
was like, oh,
No worry.
hi,
That's
all
why I
of a
put
sudden.
not for kids.
Gotta stop that, guys. It's not my life. PG-13. Kid friendly, Disney approved.
Yeah, Disney approved ghost stories. Kid friendly ghost stories. Hey Melody, how's it? How's it? Oh man. So we're here in Mililani tonight. We're gonna go ahead and talk story a little bit. About crossing over and that kind of stuff. Um an interesting subject I've been sitting on a few times this week, thinking about it. Hey Sandy, how's it? What was that?
You heard your
The
bathroom
bus.
bill, son?
Oh, it was a bus.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a bus. Air brakes.
Yeah, well, over here, that is anywhere too much. You hear that kind of stuff, you get a dirt trail, then you can't even.
Yeah.
Over here, I expect
Okay,
to hear some
Melody.
noises.
Well,
Hey Phoebe. Well, Melody, good to see ya.
Bill's been having the bathroom bills, yeah.
I know. Maybe we get one out of Bathroom Ghost over here.
Over here, it's so open.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll change my seat.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I
it's.
can see, it's coming.
Oi, hear the toilet flush.
Nothing really jumping out of the bushes over here.
Yeah. So yeah, so the subject is crossing over and stuff like that. I guess it's come up a lot too. I've had friends come up to me in the past and family members and that kind of stuff. But they'll come up and they will ask about the dearly departed. Um, I guess because of what I do, I've always kind of seen it from a different perspective, and I always saw it from a different perspective, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's gonna change. It's gonna change when somebody close to me passes away, right? And it really didn't. I lost my sister about a month ago last year. Hey, Spiral Moss, how's it? And yeah, it's just gotten that much stronger. It's a celebration. I'm also part Chinese, yeah. So how we do them is you celebrate, yeah. When somebody passes away, of course you do the funeral, you do the all of that stuff, but then you go to a Chinese restaurant and you party. Eat plenty food, that kind of stuff, and everybody has fun, kind of thing. It's not really. I've never been to a funeral my family where it's a occasion for crying and mourning, and it's more of celebrating their life and everything that they did and all of their relationships that they made and that kind of stuff too, right? In fact, they do it from April to May, the Qingming festival, right? Where they go to the gravestones. It's like sweeping of the gravestones. Yeah, in back in old China, I guess you would have like now correct. This is how I've seen it, and I could be completely wrong, but you have your family shrines, right? Where your family's ashes are, where they're buried or stuff like that, and you keep it nice and clean, right? You do that once a year. You kind of hold a celebration, make give them food, burn paper money, that kind of stuff, so that they have money to spend on the other side, and invite them to come back for a little bit. Japanese have the Obon festival, which is pretty much the exact same thing. You go and you invite them to come back and eat and dance and celebrate and all of that stuff. I used to say on the ghost tour, like a while back, it's like the reason why we have a lot of ghosts over here and a lot of the graveyards. To me, the graveyards aren't really haunted. Yeah, um, they're a place where spirits are at rest, unless you go to an old Asian graveyard, and then that place is haunted. You go to an old Japanese, an old Chinese cemetery, that place is going to be super haunted. Hey Neil, how's it? Ben, how's it? Because like I used to go to Manoa Chinese Cemetery, and how they would do is they have a grand ancestor's grave over there, and they do Qingming every year and all of that stuff as well. But um, what I found out was there's a lot of people in that graveyard who came to Hawaii 1849 with the gold rush in California, and they lived here to pay off their fare to California, and they worked in the fields and stuff for a few years, and then their family would die, and they would bury them, and then they would continue on going to California, San Francisco, all of that, and so nobody is left anymore really to do a bond, to dance and to bring them food and all of that stuff and to invite them back. It's kind of a practice that a lot of us have lost. You don't go to the grave of great grandma, great grandpa and leave food over there and remember them and that kind of stuff, right? And so the spirits get a little more restless and a little bit more upset. That's kind of how I've seen it. And so what Manoa Chinese Cemetery did was it's a really interestingly built, right? So on the top of the cemetery, you have the Grand Ancestor's Tomb, Lam Ching. And the Grand Ancestor's Tomb is on this big pavilion with all the zodiac signs in limestone carved around it. And the story of the graveyard. It's this nice, beautiful pavilion where people can gather. And you light incense there. So when we would go there on the ghost tour, every night we would light incense. And by the way that it's built, when you light incense for the grand ancestor, it's passed on to everybody in the cemetery, right? So you're honoring and visiting everybody in the cemetery if you go and visit the grand ancestor. And that's why the children over there in the children's section are known to laugh and giggle and run around, play hide and go seek and play. Now, to a lot of people, that's real creepy, right? You got little ghost kids playing. But if you think about it, these kids are not afraid. There's nothing evil there for them to be cautious about. They're free. They're safe and they can do whatever they want. And so they do. And they play and they have fun. That kind of stuff. It's a different mentality to kind of see that and witness that happening night after night after night, right? You go there 2 or 3 times a week every week for like 4 years, you're gonna have some great stories and stuff like that, and witness some pretty amazing things, And then we've been to Oahu Cemetery, and for the most part, it's just very peaceful and quiet. In fact, a lot of the activity we had gotten from Oahu Cemetery has been either ancient Hawaiian stuff, like during the Battle of the Pali, because that was a site where they had fought at, right? And it would be, what the hell are you doing? Why do you have a camera and equipment on my headstone? So we're waking them up and we're kind of upsetting them. And that's why you don't see me going to graveyards very much, because I believe that they should rest unless they have a story to tell, right? If they have a story to tell, we will listen. I'll tell the story as I know it, and they will come and correct me if they wish, kind of thing. There was one cemetery in Shreveport, Louisiana, that I would go and visit a few times when I would visit my friend Jamie up there. And there's a plague mound up there, and the plague mound was just real bad juju. You know, it just felt pilau. It felt bad. It felt dirty. It felt just unrest. And it's because looking into it, we found that it's because and that's a plague mound, right? The people there died from the plague, or no, not the plague mound. It was smallpox or yellow fever. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But you have people that were all buried there of different beliefs, different ethnicities back then when it actually mattered, right? You have Jewish people next to African Americans, next to Chinese, next to everybody, all literally mixed in together, right? That's a lot of the unrest. And I think there was more to it as well the more and more we stayed there and went there to find out. Day one, the first day we went there, we're up at the mound, and I start to feel it coming through me. I start to feel really angry. Hey, how's it? I start to feel really angry, and I can feel the Hawaiian blood boiling for some reason. And I'm like, bruh, I'm in Louisiana. What the heck is going on? Why do I care about this place? And you know, the Native Americans actually had a big site over there as well. I forget what the name of the tribe, but that was what was going on. And as I realized that, I mean, I started like breathing heavy. My heart started racing. I started feeling the heat, and it felt like unjust, desecration is what it felt like to me. They desecrated sacred land. And then we heard Native American, I think it was chanting and drums. I know definitely we heard the drums on the other side of the cemetery. In fact, we even ran over to the other side, seeing if it was just some random car driving by playing Indian Native American drums, right? Hey, Keith, how's it? How's it? And so, but there wasn't anybody there, right? It was interesting. Then we learned more about it, and we come to find out right next to the cemetery, there's a Goodwill store, and in the Goodwill store, it had something like demonic in there, like really, really, really bad, that would attack people and stuff like that. It was so angry, and it led me to think, what if it felt like that mound before was an actual sacred site for the tribe that was there, and then it was desecrated by them burying all of the sick individuals there, with all of the heva that they had brought up, all of the unrest, all of the uneasiness, the anger, the all of that kind of stuff was also put in the dirt over there, right? Anyway, I'm getting off subject, kind of. Um, yes, we're in Mililani Melka. We're up by the storage unit, Keith. Yeah, I shot you a message. I hope I sent the right Keith a message. We're right by the bedroom. But yeah, it's been a subject that was on my mind. Like, what happens when you die? What happens when you pass away? I don't think there is an answer, a definite answer that's accurate 100% of the time. I think it's more of what your brain kind of, where your mind, where your soul kind of goes when you die, what you think is going to happen to you. If you're a Christian, like, very rarely do Christians cause hauntings, you know, unless it's more pre-Christian, like Puritan days and 1800s kind of stuff, where, you know, you're born and you're an evil kid, um, you're born with sin and you're going to hell, you know, that kind of stuff. I find a lot of those unrested spirits come when they fear hell. And so they'd rather stay here on this plane than cross over into the light, which they fear may be hell. But nowadays, we're just so mellow. We're so trusting. We live such good lives where we don't even fear hell most of the time when we die, you know? Um, I did want to share a story that I'll share that one at the end. But Wilan, do you have any stories? You have any input? Matt.
crossing over.
Yeah.
Well, like I was telling you, there's
Hey, how's it?
a lot of where I had spirits come back. Not many, but some come back and actually tell me that it's happy, confirming that they're happy when they cross over. You know, and they can come and go as they please. So it's not like an ending as how the living look at it. You know, for the living it's an ending, but for the person that passes on, there's a better place. For me, I've had confirmation, you know.
Yeah, yeah. That confirmation is cool.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So,
But it doesn't always happen.
no, it doesn't. Which we found out a couple Fridays ago. Or a Friday ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was waiting for confirmation from my sister, but it never came. When she passed, I could feel her panicking. I guess as she left the body, and then she just vanished. She was gone.
But that part, they don't know that they're actually, there's some spirits who don't know that they passed on yet.
Yeah.
So, like how we're talking for the living and the person, the spirit, that's person that passed on, both sides need time to figure out what's going on, you know, the loss for the living and for the one that passed on, for the spirit to actually realize what's happening.
Yeah.
The last thing they knew, what I got from one spirit is during the time of passing, they didn't know what was going on. They knew they was alive, and then the next they were looking down, you know, and watching everybody cry. So even the spirit needs time to adjust.
Yeah. Like we were talking about though. So like, as a spirit, you're no longer constrained by 3 dimensions. Right? As a spirit, time and space is nothing. So I believe that as soon as my sister crossed over, as soon as she passed away, she crossed over. Well, okay. I consider that as a possibility because, as I said, time and space is irrelevant, right? But then again, that wouldn't be true. Because then, like, okay, Oahu Cemetery, when we used to go there, there was a lady at the fence line between Oahu and Oahu Cemetery. Right along that side on Oahu Cemetery, there were baby graves, right? And when they built the cemetery, initially there wasn't a fence there, and it was one cemetery. But what had happened, what I was told, was they had buried the mother on the other side of the fence. When the fence came up, she ended up on the other side of the fence, and she was looking for her baby. Do you think that's her consciously looking for her baby, or that may be?
I still believe there's spirits that
Hey, Aussie, how's it?
they have nothing, they can go if they want to. But say a mother looking for a child, she's not gonna cross over. That's how we get spirits that still roam, you know.
That's true.
Unfinished business for them.
I'm wondering, however, if it's not a residual haunting, because
So
she wouldn't go anywhere else but that fence.
that would take somebody gifted to go there and to find out whether it's a residual or an actual haunting.
Yeah.
Because a residual, I've been where I know if it's a residual because there's no feeling, there's no pain, there's nothing. It's just like an action that happens at a certain time over and over. Whereas, say for instance, that girl that I channeled, I felt the pain. I went through the whole assault with her.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah. So I have her fear. I can feel her fear and what was being done to her.
Yeah.
And that is the actual haunting.
So she's still
No.
here.
Yeah.
See, then there goes my theory of space and time. Right?
Well, I think everything has everybody has a different story.
Maybe the space and time starts after you cross over.
I think that's the
Hey,
possibility
Faye.
because they can come and go as they please. You know,
Yeah.
there's no space and time in from like how you tell us. No sense run from a ghost. Why are you running for?
Yeah.
Because you're at point A, you can run to point B, and you know what? You get to point B, they're already standing there.
Yeah.
So I think there's some kind of process that they go through where space and time does not exist. It's just we don't know when it happens.
Okay. So
That's the way I look
I
at it.
wonder where my sister went when she died and what path she was on. I'm pretty sure, like, my family was. So, how I feel my sister was my family was there because my family was there. My family that had passed away, she would see them and I would feel them for several weeks before she died. And she'd yell at them. No, Grandma, I'm not ready to go yet. Leave me alone. Go away. Because she thought that they were there to cross her over and take her home. They were there to give her comfort and peace, right? But like I think that they just kind of grabbed her and just took her, and she trusted them, so she went. And then I went through what about a month or more where I couldn't feel anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I was my senses were gone, my sixth sense, all of that stuff. It was just I don't know if it was trauma that knocked it out or if like I feel like there's a time where you gotta go through and process before you you have to process the death, you have to go through the mourning, you have to go through the loss, you have to do all of that stuff before they can come back and say hi. My auntie was a perfect example. In fact, she lived down the road in Mililani. Her husband passed away, my uncle Neil, and she's psychic. She could see them, she could talk to them, and she could not. And this was 2014, 2013, where Uncle Neil would speak to me often through the spirit box in his voice, and he would name himself as well, and that was, that was really cool. But his wife, the psychic, was shut off, and she even asked me. She's like, "I want to see him so bad. Why can't I see him? Why won't he come to me?" And I think it's because she's not willing to let him go.
Yeah.
She's not ready to let him go. Like she wants his presence there, and she wouldn't mourn him if he was there chatting with her whenever she would want, you know, and over there hanging out and just sitting in the chair. It wouldn't be a mourning process. It would just be postponing the inevitable, right? Hey Troy, yeah, we are in Mililani Mocha with Mace. You like swing by, bro? Come on, swing by. Um, Mace is on his way. Yeah, we're all kind of huddled here under the little tiny roof, but we get tent too. But yeah, it's not. You have to go through the mourning. That's the process of life. Yeah, you got to learn to let go, and that's the process that builds faith too. And you get little hints and little things where they have crossed over and all of that stuff as well too. Um, it was brought to my attention as well that like I don't know how to feel about this, but like a friend of mine, the cousin went pass away, and a couple days after, one psychic said he never crossed over yet, and now everybody's worried that he's not going to cross over. That I think for somebody who, if the psychic is spiritual, I think that's kind of irresponsible, unless they went on and explained. I mean, bro, it's been like a day. You know what I mean? Relax. You know, it probably doesn't even know he passed away yet. You know that kind of stuff. But like, I don't know, because that just kind of brings suffering and uneasiness and that kind of thing. And so I don't really know how I feel about that one too much. I'd say usually give it about what is it, 6 weeks? I guess
I get it in a
each
couple months.
each culture is different. Yeah.
different.
Yeah, I was about
Yeah.
to say every culture has their difference. I believe Japanese culture, spirit hangs around for like 7 days
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
passing before it actually crosses over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Filipino style, they do the whole rosary, but it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
a
It's
week
whole-
long or 2 week process that they go and
Yeah.
the family gathers and
Hey, Corin, how's it?
they get together and they do their whole
Yeah. And
religious beliefs or
something.
whatnot in order to
They just have them in there for a whole week or
yeah
in the home.
the
Yeah.
body stays in the home. Yeah,
Yeah.
my ex in California when her grandfather died. He's
Yikes.
half Filipino, half Mexican, but
Yeah.
they're strong in their beliefs and that the whole Filipino family was there, you know, and it was
And I believe
every day like
Tongan, someone, you know, they have the little one Maury. They do their thing for a couple of nights. And so you need to, you know, for I personally feel for a psychic to tell them that so close to the passing is irresponsible because now you got the living mourning, crying about the loss, and at the same time worried.
Yeah.
That they're wandering, you know.
And so now the dearly departed will not cross over because the living is suffering.
And some they don't leave. It's hard for them to you know cross over because
Yep.
it's like their loved ones. So you got two sides that's
Yep.
confused.
That's a part that really threw me off because I was getting ready for everything. Heck, my daughter and I were talking about it a lot when my sister was in hospice. She has small children, twins, right? That she tried so hard for and finally got them, and they're fantastic kids, right? They're a blessing for sure. But we were afraid that she wasn't gonna let them go, you know. And it surprised me that there weren't more paranormal things in our house happening, you know, that kind of stuff. Hey, Sandra, how's it? Could the trauma? Oh, okay, you switch platforms. I don't know. Could it be the trauma of the event, or the spiritual cords that connect you to the living that takes time to dissolve? It could be both.
I think so.
It could be both. There was that
Especially when it
there
comes
was
to-
that spirit on the case that we did with that. There was that locked room, right? That nobody was in for like what, a decade or two, and then all of a sudden the door just swung open. You know, they didn't have the key for it. Yeah, that was cool. But like that one was a woman. There was a woman in there who was stuck by her, either by her trauma or by trauma caused after death, right? And she was stuck there for a long time. And she wasn't able to cross over, and she was in this schizophrenic state where she didn't know who she was, where she was, but she suffered and suffered and suffered, and that suffering fed something a lot darker, right? Oh, thank you, girls. Get hiccups too. She, oh man. Okay, so I felt my sister, like it was on a live. I used the crystal thing on the string. What's that called? The
The pendulum.
pendulum. Thank you. I can never remember that. I don't know why. And she came to me, and I could feel her energy. The pendulum started bouncing and acting strange, like I've never seen it before. And I was just like, "What the heck is going on?" And then all of a sudden, like I could feel her energy, and she was talking to me through the pendulum. She is so stinking happy. I mean, her energy was in mine. You know, it was like, wow. And I felt her up in Mauna Kea. And it's like, oh my, I'm kind of jealous. She is so free right now. She is flying everywhere and she's part of a collective. It's like, I can feel her, but as part of the collective. It's kind of strange. I'm so happy for her. And she can still be with us, right? It's like we seem to think that ghosts are three-dimensional. No, they're not. They can be everywhere at once. Easy. You vote both, Phoebe? Yeah. But it's so awesome feeling that, you know, just feeling somebody who's at peace and crossed over is just. And plus, my sister was like, we were close, you know. I don't know. It just, that feeling right there was probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever felt, right? Troy, tonight over dinner, a friend mentioned a story about newlyweds and their guest tragically passed in an accident after the wedding. It was so sad that they all perished in an instant on their wedding day. Oh, yeah. That is sad. Yeah. That's. That's life, though. Um, my condolences. That's going to be hard for them to live with, right? Too many what ifs. Too many, But yeah, it'll take them a while. With the right help, they could definitely be able to move past. I wish that everybody could feel what I felt with my sister. I wish that they could feel their loved ones like that and see them like that. I heard a saying. I was probably on Facebook or something. I'm not gone. I'm just in the other room. You know, it's like you can't see me, you can't hear me. Just but I'm still there. I'm just not here with you in this room. Bruh, what happened to the rain? Now there's no clouds in the sky.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. There's like your clouds in spots that's just
Yeah,
coming
it
and
just
then
come right
it
over.
clears up,
Curtain over
and
there.
then it comes,
That's
and then
what
it
keeps
clears
you-
up.
Yep.
So we got another one on the way.
Yep. My sister is 2 years older than me. So that my sister and I were supposed to be twins. Like my mom had a dream, and she gave birth to twins. My sister was the first one out, and I think she was named Jennifer. And then the boy came out, and the boy was named Joe in her dream. And then the boy turned into a cockroach and said, "It's not my time yet," and crawled away. And then when I was born, the doctor looked at my mom and was like, "Wow, looks exactly like the one I delivered 2 years ago, except for the obvious, But like, my sister named me Joe. How? Where did that come from, right? But we always had that kind of relationship. More so when we were kids. When we got older, we all kind of split up and all of that stuff, and we all lived our own life and stuff. But then we always, yeah, we're family.
You feel like you had a past life with her?
Nah, I don't know. I could feel what she. See, it was when she passed away. It was difficult for me because I could feel her, and I could feel if I just thought of her, wherever she was, I could feel what kind of energy, what kind of mood she was in, and I could delve into that and understand and feel that kind of feel her, right? But then when she passed away, it's like that link was completely severed, and I could feel nothing, no matter how hard I tried.
Right. So, like her naming you,
Yeah,
you think that could have come from a past life?
perhaps. Never really thought too much about that. I just thought, oh, it's cool. It's funny because I usually think about the why and the how and all that stuff too, but some things I just don't, I guess. Now you got me thinking. I'm not sure about the whole past life. It's
Well, to me, the way you describe her, to me, she comes across as an old soul.
guarantee,
Yeah.
guarantee. That's what she always said. She was an old soul, and she would show her hands because her hands were all wrinkly. Even when she was like 16, 17, her hands were all wrinkly. She's like, it's because I'm an old soul. I'm like,
Yeah, so that's
okay,
why
keep
I'm
saying
thinking,
that.
I'm thinking maybe there was a time that you and her shared a past life.
Very
That's
possible.
how, that's how
Yeah.
she got, she knew what to name you.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you don't remember it or you don't recall it, but because she's the old soul that she had already,
Yeah.
had
Especially with the connection
gone through. Yeah.
being apart and actually feeling-
Faces I met.
Hey, hi, Faye. How are you?
Hey, Joy, how's it?
Weather control.
I wonder what truth to the story. I wonder what truth to the story that we have contracts or signed up to be born into certain families or circles of people. I think animals sign up to. Yep, I believe so. I don't believe that everybody necessarily does that, but I believe that majority of us do. But that whole contract and waiting in line to be incarnated and saying what you um, want to experience and all of that. Are those Hawaiian crickets? Yeah, hula skirts and all. No. I don't even notice the crickets.
Oh yeah, not until now.
Now I notice them.
Yeah.
Why you guys have to mention that? No.
I don't know. Now they're gonna be loud. No,
No.
it's okay. They'll go
Things
big.
are
I
just
know.
oblivious until you mention it.
Phoebe says, "Hey Matt,
Hi Phoebe, how are you?
I had a dream that I was a cave woman. I had a dream a couple of times. See now, I ask you that girls get hiccups too. So you dreamt that you were a cave woman. Was it the same dream over and over again, or were you the same person doing different things in the dreams? You know, that's kind of what interests me. Is I would have dreams where I'm at home, but it looks nothing like my house. And I would have several dreams where I'm in this house that looks nothing like my house here, but for some reason in my dream, I know this is home. You know, I know this is my house. So it's just okay. So no to which one? Sorry, same person. Okay, same person, different activities. That's interesting. Um, I've kind of like I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I kind of see it like multiverse theory, shoeboxes. You know, picture a room with shoeboxes, an infinite number of shoeboxes, up, forward, back, left, right, up, and down, and they just keep going. Right? You are in one shoebox. Every possible outcome that you do, every possible reality is a shoebox. Now, everything we know is in our one shoebox, but when we cross over, we fly above the shoebox and we can visit all of the other shoeboxes. That kind of thing. So that might be. I talked to my friend Doug about that too, and he said he believes that when you pass away, or no, not even pass away in your dreams, you can sometimes visit other shoeboxes. You can visit other different universes in your dreams. You know, and so you might have experiences in dreams that feel so real because they were. I have a story that happened and it was so real, like, but I can't remember it ever happening. But I know it happened, but it was so real. But still, I don't think it happened. And maybe it did. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just kind of crazy. That's my Makua Cave experience. Maybe it happened in another dimension. Maybe it happened while I was sleeping because I can remember. And I went to the cave and I looked in it and I recalled everything from it. And I had like flashbacks. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. I don't know. It's weird. You look like a Neanderthal. That's interesting because that suggests maybe, I guess it could be time travel, or it could be a dimension where nobody, or a multiverse where we didn't evolve. What is your theory of sleep paralysis? Um, there's so many possibilities when it comes to sleep paralysis. It could be medical. It could be that chemical in your brain that comes down and makes your muscles not move, you know, so it literally pins you down. Because, yeah, I read about that too. That's why when you run in your sleep, your feet aren't moving, right? And when you're having conversations, not always are you actually in your sleep having conversations, right? But I also believe that there can be a paranormal aspect to some of the cases as well. Because when you're sleeping, you are at your weakest. You're the most vulnerable when you are sleeping. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. I should do a live on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I can cough that up to being non-paranormal.
Yeah.
I don't consider it like sleep paralysis. I consider it fresh
I,
dreams, ghosts.
I can understand how they read it out off as sleep paralysis.
I mean, I can see the whole scientific part about it and where they're coming from
Yeah.
to make this analogy, or
But when it's accompanied with hallucinations, and when it's accompanied with auditory hallucinations and visual hallucinations that are the same cross culture, cross continent, you know what I mean? The old lady with the old hag with red eyes sitting on your chest laughing at you, that kind of stuff. That's all over the world. Could be. That's a little bit more of a too coincidental to be a coincidence, you
Yeah.
know.
yeah,
those things I think is very that's
Yeah,
hands down paranormal.
yeah. So for me, a lot of my paranormal experiences are presences.
Hmm.
I've been attacked more than my handful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's countless number of times where I know I'm awake. I can't move.
You can't even talk.
I can't scream.
Yeah.
I can't yell. But I'm awake.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't open my eyes, or sometimes I can, and I can see around, but I can't move my body. I can't move my feet, my arms, nothing. It's just stuck there, and you can feel it on you.
Yeah.
Could
That's
also
part-
be like out of body experience, where you're not in your body and you're looking at your body.
Well, my experiences weren't like that. Like
Yeah, I've been held down.
I was still in.
I'm
Okay,
very
so
awake.
in 10th grade, when I was going to Castle, by the auditorium, there's this building that's parallel with the library, and 10th grade history class, Miss Watanabe's. And that day we were watching a video in class, and I'm sitting in the back of the class. Lights are off, video's on, and I fall asleep. So my head's down, arms crossed, I'm sitting in the chair. And all of a sudden, I feel this huge pressure on me, and I'm pinned to the desk.
Mm.
Okay, I can open my eyes, I can see on the sides of me, like where the openings of my arms are from the desk. I can hear the TV. I can hear the people in my class, and I'm yelling, help, help, and nothing's coming out of my mouth. I'm sitting down, but I can't even pick my feet up off the ground. Like, I'm just stuck there. Then I start reciting the Lord's Prayer. Like, I kind of figure it out, like, oh shoot, I'm in a press dream. And this is what, like fourth period, I believe.
Mm.
It's in the middle of the day. I'm in class, in school, and I'm being attacked.
You tell your teacher, oh, you're attracting some stuff over here.
Well, so I recited the prayer, right? And eventually I broke out of it, like, and I practically jumped out of my seat. That's how hard I was pushing myself off the desk, or trying to push myself off this desk. And I literally jumped, and like my classmates all turned and looked at me like, "What the hell is going?" You know, and like, that's how startled I was. It's like, oh, you know, and that's just one of the experiences I had. But like I said, I was totally conscious. I could see myself. I knew my surroundings. I wasn't like looking at myself or at my body. I was in my body, and I was just basically stuck staring at the desk. You know, I couldn't even get my head off my arms. It's just kind of that crazy, kind of that intense. And so I don't know how to call it sleep paralysis. I feel more it's a pressing or a choke, and it's usually something that's comes with jealousy or envy or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
resentment, or you know, it's a negative thing. It's something that's sent
Hey, Jennifer.
sometimes unconsciously. You know, maybe just somebody harbors these feelings, and without them knowing, like say they're sleeping at night, and because they went to sleep with this animosity and this anger or this fear, their spirit leaves their body and actually does what their will is or what they're bidding. Like they're not actually
Hmm.
trying to cause harm, but because they have these emotions and negative
Yeah.
energy,
Either that or
it kind of goes out.
one of
and
their
it
other
actually-
one of their spirit thing guides or whatever
Yeah.
does it for them
Yeah.
without meaning to. You know what I mean? Just they know you don't like the guy, so or you don't like this person, so your spirit servant or whatever will go out and do them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I've had that.
There you go.
Hey Jennifer, we are talking about ghost stories, crossing over, that kind of stuff. Here in Hawaii, comparing beliefs and hearing experiences and all that stuff, and we moved into sleep paralysis and the choke ghost, kanashibari, choke neck. You know, when you're pinned down and the terror that comes in the night. A lot of different names for that. Corin, you say when I moved to California, I would have this dream a lot. I was driving and my special needs daughter was with me. I would be behind a cement truck and the cement came out and it got all over us, crushed the hood. I didn't see it, but we did die. I stopped having the dream when we got out of California. What do you think about this? Ooh, that's an interesting one. So you would keep having that dream Right on, Jennifer. Thank you. So you would keep having this dream, Corin. It sounds like a possible premonition. What do you think,
Yeah.
Kui?
That's a, yep.
But because you had this dream, never happened. You know what I mean? Because you were
Like
more, huh?
he moved ahead of it before it could actually happen. He said he moved, right?
Oh yeah. You moved. You stopped having the
He
dream when
never
you
wait
moved.
for the premonition to actually happen.
Yeah.
He made that decision, which is again free will, right?
Yeah. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. So it's like there's so many possibilities for me. It kind of like blows the mind. It's like don't think too hard about anything. Every little action you can take, but that butterfly effect thing, huh? From Puerto Rico, right on. We are in Hawaii. Yeah, no worry, beef curry. It kind of like the way I think of it sometimes is like so many things happen that we have absolutely no knowledge of. You know, it's like I used to watch those Superman, Superman and Batman and all of that stuff. Hey, mate, how's it? And so he comes and saves the day. But guess what? Nobody in the world knows that they came that close to dying. You know what I mean? No one in the world, not many people know that their life comes this close to ending every week. You know?
How you?
Hey, how's it? Get back. Stretch my legs. Hey, how's it?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, the cooler and everything, huh? And we get some stuff over here too. And I get chocolates, so there you go.
You get ranch in this butter. But I need too. But I'll just head gear them.
Yeah.
Lamp all the way.
But there's so many possibilities, and there's so many things that we don't even know all the possible outcomes for everything that we could do or did, and to even think about that will make you go crazy. It's just like, I just do whatever I feel. Even if it's kind of weird, I'll just do it because it feels weird. Or just because I don't know what it leads to. If there's an opportunity and something tells me to do this, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to do it. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing it. And I'm not asking why.
Yeah, one more inside.
Well, you brought tables too. So I will share one more story over here. Oh, you know what? Let's discuss a little bit first about last week. Last week was kind of creepy. I'm trying to put together a video of some of the EVPs that we caught and all of that. It's really cool. They're like when I said we need to get out of there. There's a voice that says hurry. If you look through the video, you'll see. Actually, that was the couple weeks ago. When something was telling me we had to leave, and I just kind of bailed it. Yeah, that's when I was by myself at Judd Trail. Yeah, read the comments on that, and you can see all the little timestamps and everything. It's pretty cool. What happened last week? I am gonna investigate more. It was funny because when we drove to that other location, the last location, I started praying, and then the light all the way up ahead flickered, and that was the only time it flickered. It was when I was done praying, and then the second prayer, all the audio kept cutting off, and that never happened for the 2 hours, yeah, that I know of anyway. I had an urge to tell the story of Jump Rope Girl, and when we got to that site, because that's kind of why I wanted to go there. But we will do a full investigation on that soon. Hey Cheryl, how's it? We will do a full investigation on Jump Rope Girl. Go there, tell the story, and kind of see what happens. Man, we heard screams, we heard all kinds of stuff. It was really just unnerving. Yeah, Matt. No, Matt went walk away.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was.
See, he's so scared he had to leave. He had to walk away.
But there were viewers that heard that scream.
And then Uilani over here was listening on was listening on the watching the video, and she could tune in and tap in, and she could feel everything. You want to go over a little bit of that?
Yeah, why not?
So what happened to you while you were watching the video?
So when you guys moved down the road, you were doing the prayer. You were talking about. I had my earpods in, and you kept like every other word was coming through until you just cut off, and I was listening to something else, like either choking and after that, what usually happens is the spirit will it's like either they just jump me or I relive what they went through. So at that point, and I think I was on the YouTube telling you that you're cutting in and out, and then you came back on. I heard the last of the prayer, but everything went for me. I was looking out through somebody's eyes, and I remember being there remote, looking at this girl. I couldn't make out if it was a lady or a girl, a child. So, and then I start to see what she was going through. I felt a hit on the back of my head, on my back. I remember falling forward down to the ground, and then being flipped over, and of course assaulted and beaten, and then choked.
Ooh. You had to feel all of that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So
Was it in real time, or did this all just kind of flash real fast?
for me, it feels like it's in real time when I feel the pain, but I think I jumped back on the live and started typing again, before you even. I think you were doing the prayer again,
Yeah.
and so I haven't really timed those situations, which I should, but it just comes on, like,
Yeah, yeah. It just comes on.
yeah. And sometimes it doesn't. I can communicate with them, but usually the traumatized ones, I've noticed I've gone through what they went through, but
Yeah.
it was after that. That's when I was talking to you, and then you were saying, about confirming if she had any eyes, and when I looked, she had no face, no features, and dark holes for eyes. But I could definitely feel the rope or something around my neck, and that was the gurgling that I was actually hearing before the audio on my side cut out. So
Thanks, everybody.
and at the time I didn't know I heard you
Sorry.
talk about Jump Rope Girl and the story, but it didn't click with me who she was.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, I've been wondering about that, and I always thought to myself, I've been at Judge Row so many times, and I've never seen this girl jump rope down the street without her face. You know what I mean? Or with half her
Yeah.
face. Or this young girl specter jump roping down the street, but the story doesn't really say where it's at, but for some reason I've always seen that road. Um, yeah. I'm going to do more investigation into that and check that out. But
But Judge, there was a murder up in UH. I believe it was Friday the 13th. She had nothing. Remember I was telling you about smelling the dream water and
yeah. And you were drowning in that one.
right, and later on we found out that a few days after that live that you did, and I went through all that, they found the body up at UH.
Mm.
And
They
what I
call
was
it a gift,
describing- Yeah. But what I was describing was exactly what they had found. So
Mm.
she had. That was the funny part. She wasn't at jail either. So I'm wondering if they coming out to tell their story, to show their story with somebody who can actually go through,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I think so. Sorry, let's get to some of the comments over here. Corin, once I was driving downtown by Waikiki, I saw this red Corvette speeding and ran through the red light and crashed. This was in my mind, and I looked up, and that's exactly what happened right in front of me. Ooh. When I saw the Corvette, I wanted to tell him stop, but some kind of force made me not watch and not do anything. That's tough. Having a what if kind of moment, huh? What if I did this? What if I did that? Just remember, bro, even though you see them, doesn't necessarily mean that there's much that you can do. You know, I have a friend that can see them after they had passed. Well, he'll see a person's video, like on TikTok or whatever, and then he just knows that that person had passed. And he'll see it like a day or two after they pass. You know, it's just, it's kind of weird. It's kind of too late. Yeah. But maybe that's made so we can appreciate what we have a lot more. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't see how that's a kind of a gift at all. Maybe it's something that's not quite fully been able to control yet, you know? Christopher, how's it? How do you hunt Hawaiian? You don't ghost hunt. You don't hunt something that can hunt you back, or that can do a better job hunting you than you can do hunting it. I tell stories. I go to haunted places and tell stories. I think it might have been Lopaka that posted about haunted schools across the state. So many places featured. I wasn't completely surprised seeing St. Francis on the list. Yeah, that was him. He posted that, yeah. A flounder. We are in Mililani, which is literally the furthest away from any kind of water you can get on this island. We're in the middle of the island. No worry, bro. So yeah, thank you for sharing. I go to yeah, we get we get one party over here, so we're gonna hang out, talk story and stuff like that, and yeah. But if anything, we might go live again later, depending. I just want to relax. I'm going to end with one story, though, one of my favorite stories. So we're talking about crossing over, going to the other side, and all of that. Oh, we're setting up for food, Phoebe, not one investigation. We're setting up for to eat. It's raining. I don't want to bust out my equipment in the rain. Yeah, I have them here next to me, but I don't want it to get wet. I'm trying to be more responsible. This is the story my friend shared with me. I like to share it every now and again, and it does help people who are going through the grieving process and all of that as well, right? So, one of my favorite stories comes from my friend Gary. Gary is a good friend of mine, and at the time he lived in Waikiki, and he is one of the most skeptical paranormal investigators I've ever met. He's into the paranormal field, but every time you bring him any kind of evidence or any kind of this, he's always debunking and always, well, you don't know about this, you don't know about that. It might be this. You can't say it's a ghost. You know, it's like, bruh, I'm a storyteller and I investigate hauntings and stories. I'm not a scientist, okay? I'm not gonna debunk everything. I admit to that. I'm also not gonna run around town posting signs up on poles saying it's a ghost, it's a ghost, it's a ghost. You know, you either gonna believe or you don't. I'll share my experiences with you, right? But Gary is a kind. He's a very skeptical guy, and I asked him one night. I'm like, so why are you so skeptical? But you still believe in ghosts, or do you not believe in ghosts? He's like, oh no, I believe they're real. I'm like, so, oh, what's up, bruh? With the green 808. I'm like, how do you believe in ghosts? What, you know, if you don't want to believe anybody's experiences but your own, you know? So I asked him, why do you believe in this? And he shared the story with me. He said, I think he's in his 60s now. And so this happened to him when he was in his early 20s, right? Early 20s, he was living, he had graduated college, and he was living with his friend, Tom, right? And he told me, Tom was my good friend, always, growing up together. But I'll tell you guys the whole story. I kind of tell a little abridged version, but he's okay with me telling the whole story. But Tom and Gary were always together from the time they were kids. Grade school, junior high, high school, college. They were best of friends and they were partners, right? They loved each other so much and they were part of each other's lives completely. So they were on the East Coast, so they were they had an apartment together. And Gary had come home from work and Tom was heading out the door saying, "Oh, so and so has a party tonight. Let's go. You gonna go to the party?" And Gary's like, "Nah, I just got, I just got done with work. I'm gonna relax. Have fun though." He's like, "You sure?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, go." And he's like, "Oh, and hey, Tom, if you drink, don't drive home. I just spend the night over there at their house." And so he's like, "Okay, okay, no problem." So Gary goes upstairs, goes to sleep. Tom goes to the party. In the morning, Gary gets up to go to work. Tom's not home. Figured he had a few too much to drink, right? Oh, I met you. Oh, sorry. Hold on one second. Met you on the plane. Hey, right on, bro. I like your YouTube channel too, bro. The fishing and stuff. Oh, we stay in Mililani right now, bro. It was nice meeting you on the plane too, you and your wife, huh? We stay in Mililani right now, Mililani Malka, because over here you get plenty of ghosts. And I think the more we tell ghost stories over here and hang out here and have good, fun time, bring good energy, that the place gets better and better and better as we do them. Yeah. Sorry, let me continue the story over there. We'll just say hi to you, bro. um, so Gary leaves for work in the morning and comes home. And he leaves for the work and Tom's not home. So he figures Tom slept over at the friend's house. Tom comes home late afternoon, early evening, and Tom's not home yet. And he's like, "What the hell? Where's Tom?" So he calls a friend's house. Nobody answered. He called a mom's house. Nobody's seen Tom. He calls around. Nobody knows where Tom is. And about 7 o'clock in the evening, or so, there's a knock at the front door. And Gary opens up the door, and it's an officer. And the officer asks him, "Is this where Tom so and so lives?" He said, "Yes." He's like, "Okay, I'm sorry to tell you this. I have to break this news, but Tom died last night. He was hit by a drunk driver on his way home, and he got into an accident and he died." And so Gary was distraught. And Tom's mother and everybody. I mean, to be so young and passing away, right? So young, and Tom was very loved. So Tom, they mourned him just bitterly. Tom, Gary, and Tom's mom, they were the three of them would go everywhere. They'd go to the bar, they'd do this, they'd do everything together, right? They'd go out partying together, and they all mourned him hard. The days turned into weeks, turned into months, turned into years. And after, I think it was about 4 years, he told me, he still was mourning Tom. He couldn't get over him, and he just, everybody, the mom, Gary, and it still hurt. Everything hurt all the time. The mom sold Tom's car. Tom had this brown old model car. Well, I guess it wasn't old then, but Keith on the other side of the park, Moramauka. Sorry, I can't read the comments right now. I'm trying to think of the story. And so they sold Tom's car. They lived in like New York, New Jersey, around there, and they sold it to a guy in Florida, so they would never see the car again. It was a very unique car. It was brown. It had, you see the car and you know it's Tom's car. But they sold it 100,000 miles away, so they never have to see it again. One evening, Gary goes into a convenience store, grabs food, milk, that kind of stuff for the next day, and like always, because he still does this, he talking story with his friends, right? Wait, hold on. You guys talk story. I'll be right back. Sorry, I get a hard time concentrating. No, I don't like people stop partying because that's good, but I also get a hard time concentrating. Um, so Tom goes into the store, talks to the lady, and buys his food and just chit chatting, and then leaves. And as he's walking out the store, he sees in the parking lot a car that looks like Tom's, and he's just staring at the car and looking at it, and it is in fact Tom's car. And he's just tripping out. What the hell is it doing here? And so he walks around the car to the driver's side, and the window rolls down, and there's Tom sitting in the driver's seat. Tom rolls down the window, looks at him, and smiles at him. It looks like Gary, and he goes, "Hey, dude, how you doing?" And Gary's just jaw dropped, like, "Dude, Tom, is that you?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, it's me. Jump in. We need to talk. Let's go for a ride." Gary goes into the passenger seat, jumps in the passenger seat, and just staring at Tom, jaw open, just staring at Tom. And as they drive around a little bit, nobody says anything, but Gary just finally he's just staring and staring and staring at his friend. Um, Gary finally breaks the silence and says, "Are you an angel?" And Tom said, "No, that's what we need to talk about." He's like, Tom says, "I can't cross over yet because you and mom won't let me go. You and mom are so in so much pain. I can't leave you guys like this. You guys need to let me go. You guys need to let me go, and I'll see you again soon. But you guys need to let me cross over." And Gary's like, "No, this isn't true. This isn't right. I'm on the ground right now having a stroke or something." He's like, "This is not really happening. I'm hallucinating." And so Tom reaches into the glove compartment, pulls out an envelope, sticks it in Gary's shirt pocket. He's like, Gary's like, "How do I know that it's real?" And he sticks that in his pocket, says, "That's how you'll know it's real." And then he stops, and he's in front of Gary's apartment. Gary wanders out of the car, goes up the stairs to his apartment, opens the door, and as he's opening the doors, he realizes he forgot all of the groceries in Tom's car. As he opens the door, he sees Tom sitting on the chair at the dining room table with all of Gary's groceries. Tom smiles and disappears. Gary just walks by thinking he's hallucinating, having a stroke, goes right to bed and goes to sleep. Wakes up thinking he had one hell of a dream. Then he walks out of the room and sees the now warm milk sitting on the table with the bag of groceries. And he remembers the whole night, the night before, where he had seen Tom and just tripping out. He goes down, calls his friend that was working at the place, and he's like, "What happened last night?" She's like, "Oh, you left the store, but you went up to a car and got into a weird car, but it looked like it was Tom's car." And then Diaz went driving away. And Gary's like, "What the hell?" Calls up the mom, tells the mom everything that happened in the story and everything. He meets up with her and he recalls all of the events that happened. And the mom is just looking like just wide eyed, like amazing, right? And then Gary remembers the envelope. So he takes the envelope out of his pocket and he opens it up. And in the envelope, there's a Polaroid picture of Gary, Tom, and Tom's mom at a bar smiling. On the back of the picture, it says, "Love you guys. See you soon, Tom." And the mother looks at the picture, looks at Gary, and says, "I know that picture. I remember that picture." Gary's like, "Yeah, I know. Me too." She said, "That's the last thing you put in the casket before they put Tom under." He says, "Yeah." And that's the picture that he had. So he told me that's why he believes in ghosts. Tom is still there around him all the time as a guardian. Every now and then, no matter where he is in the world, because he's been all over the world, he'll be at a red light. Tom will come pulling up in his brown car, roll down the window, look at him, smile, and then drive away. This is one of the this is one of the probably the nicest ghost story I've heard. Not scary, but it's just awe and wonder. You know what I mean? It's just I love it. I love that story. That perfectly describes the paranormal to me. These ghosts, these spirits, yeah, sometimes they're not so nice, right? But this is what they have the potential for. And this is why I do it. To experience things like that, to experience feeling my sister again at Mauna Kea, at Judd Trail, so happy, so free. I'm jealous. You know what I mean? I'm here. I'm still here alive. I'm not thinking I'm gonna die anytime soon, but when it's my time, I'm gonna go willingly, looking eagerly, looking forward to the peace and the freedom and just that energy that I could feel coming from her. It's just wow, that kind of stuff. Aloha, Jessica. How's it? Where are we tonight? We're in Mililani. Yeah, you're welcome, Travis. Joe, did you sense that they are gathering around you to listen at the stories, or is it just you folks in the area there tonight? I think it's just us in the area, but I'm not too sure. When I focus, when I'm telling stories and stuff, I kind of just focus on the stories and the talking story. And it's wet and raining, so well, not anymore. It just comes and goes. Yeah. Yes, please like, share, and subscribe. Mahalo. I always forget that part. And now we will talk about haunted bathrooms. No, just kidding. That was the other week. But we will flip the camera, and I will say boo and scare you guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. As I said, there's a lot of stuff coming and happening. I'm still trying to do a lot of things. I'm still trying to figure stuff out as I can and working and all that kind of stuff too. But subscribe, like, whatever, share. Notification, we go live every Friday night, tell ghost stories. Usually it's at a much more haunted place than this. And the last few times we've had a lot of stuff going on and happening. So yeah. I look forward to it every week. And yeah, if anything, guys, send me a message or whatever. I do hope to go live, but just so tired, yeah. Working. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat some Hawaiian food now. So you guys have a great night. Take care. Aloha.